Have you ever tried so hard to be better, to rebuild your life, to bridge the gap in your spirit, and yet you still feel stuck like you're running a race on a treadmill? No matter how deep you pray, no matter how hard you push, there's a hollow space that won't stay filled. But what if the problem isn't your effort? What if you aren't failing? You're just exhausted from fighting the wrong battle. Everything in your life is about to shift. The weight is about to lift. And it all starts the moment you truly understand one word: abide. Point 1. The exhaustion of striving versus the secret of abiding. Have you ever felt like you are constantly running a marathon on a spiritual treadmill, pouring all your energy into becoming a better person, yet making absolutely no forward progress? Many of us dedicate our lives to trying harder, reading all the right books, checking off our daily religious to-do lists, and using sheer willpower to bridge the gap in our souls. But despite all this immense effort, a profound hollow emptiness remains. We often mistake this exhaustion for failure, thinking we just aren't praying long enough or pushing hard enough. But the profound truth is that your problem is not a lack of effort. You are simply fighting the completely wrong battle. You are experiencing the deep burnout that comes from functioning as a striver rather than an abider. A striver is terrified that if they stop forcing things for even a single second, their entire world will shatter. In contrast, an abider faces the exact same terrifying storms and overwhelming stress, but they navigate life with an unshakable, steady calmness. The monumental difference between these two lives is not the amount of power they can generate on their own, but rather who they are securely rooted in. In the Gospel of John, Jesus fundamentally changes the way we should view our spiritual growth, shifting our focus away from frantic forcing and endless exhaustion. He introduces the life-changing concept of abiding. If you are ready to trade your endless striving for true spiritual rest, and if you are seeking God's profound peace in your life today, I invite you to leave an amen in the comments below so that God may bless you. Point 2. The transformative metaphor of the vine and the branch. To truly grasp the magnitude of what it means to abide, we must first look at the pivotal moment when Jesus shared this profound secret. He wasn't giving a casual weekend sermon. He was in the upper room during his final hours, fully aware that he was about to leave his beloved disciples in a harsh, breaking world. In those precious, fleeting moments, he didn't hand them a complicated 10-step strategy for worldly success or tell them to fiercely hustle for the kingdom. Instead, he gave them one simple, singular, and urgent command: abide in me. He used a profoundly simple agricultural metaphor, stating, "I am the vine, you are the branches." When we look at the pure mechanics of a vine and its branches, the spiritual implications become completely transformative. The vine acts as the ultimate source of all life. It holds every single drop of water, all the vital nutrients, and the raw life force necessary for survival. You, as the branch, are merely an extension of that glorious vine. The fruit which represents the deep peace, the radiant joy, and the godly character manifesting in your life is simply the natural result of that connection. Think about it realistically. A branch never desperately grunts, stresses out, or works itself into a panic to produce a single grape. It doesn't magically create life. Its only job is to receive life by remaining securely attached. If you find yourself agonizingly struggling to be a good person, it is a glaring warning sign that you have tragically forgotten your role as a branch and are mistakenly attempting to act as the vine yourself. Point 3. The danger of living like an unplugged smartphone. The original Greek meaning of the word abide is deeply practical. It translates to remaining, staying, or permanently dwelling. Unfortunately, countless people treat their relationship with the Creator like a casual tourist rather than a committed resident. We check in for an hour on Sunday mornings, or we desperately visit God only when a catastrophic crisis hits and we desperately need a sudden miracle. However, a living branch simply cannot survive by merely visiting the vine. If it tried, it would wither and die in a matter of hours. True abiding is never a temporary visit or a calculated transaction where you do good deeds just to get blessings. It is a constant, permanent dwelling. To understand this modern spiritual crisis, think about your smartphone. The exact second you unplug your phone from its charger, it doesn't instantly die. It still looks perfectly fine, the screen shines brightly, and you can still watch videos or scroll through messages. However, a silent, invisible countdown has officially started, and the internal battery is slowly draining away. This is exactly how the majority of us are navigating our precious lives. We haven't maliciously abandoned our faith, but we have subtly unplugged from our true power source. We are foolishly trying to conquer today's overwhelming stress, tomorrow's heavy anxieties, and next week's massive goals while running on only 12% battery. When your soul starts feeling dangerously empty, irritable, and drained, it isn't a punishment. Just like a glowing low-fuel light on a car's dashboard, these heavy feelings are simply an urgent, loving signal from your soul reminding you to pull over and reconnect. Point 4. Flipping your internal switches to reconnect. When we encounter problems like overwhelming anxiety, a volatile temper, or a deep lack of purpose, our immediate human instinct is to desperately switch into crisis management mode. We mistakenly believe that if we just grit our teeth, read more books, and try significantly harder, we will finally achieve spiritual growth. But Jesus makes a statement that our human egos absolutely hate to accept. Apart from me, you can do nothing. Notice that he doesn't say you will simply be slightly less effective. He definitively says you can achieve nothing of spiritual value. Trying to force yourself to be deeply spiritual without actually abiding is exactly like frantically polishing an unplugged light bulb in the dark, hoping your intense rubbing will somehow make it mysteriously glow. You can polish it until your hands literally bleed, but it will never produce a single spark of light. To truly abide, you don't need to isolate yourself in a silent monastery. You just need to practically flip 3 internal switches during your chaotic day. First, flip the narrative switch. Instead of constantly reacting to toxic emails or bad news with your own limited, drained battery, pause and let God's unwavering truth boldly declare who you are. Second, flip the prayer switch. Stop treating prayer as a formal, scheduled meeting and start treating it as a constant, ongoing conversation, whispering short prayers while driving or washing dishes. Finally, flip the alignment switch. View your daily obedience not as a restrictive set of boring religious rules, but as the ultimate protection that beautifully clears the pathway for the vine's glorious power to flow seamlessly into your life. Point 5. Experiencing the inevitable fruit of true connection. When you finally surrender your exhausting efforts and truly start abiding, the entire atmosphere of your life begins to beautifully and naturally shift. It is not an instant, cheap magic trick, but rather a profound, organic transformation. Consider a healthy apple tree. You never have to loudly yell at the tree to command it to grow apples. The delicious fruit simply happens effortlessly because the tree itself is healthy and well-rooted. When you maintain a continuous, living connection to the ultimate source, developing good character completely stops being a stressful self-improvement project and naturally becomes a beautiful product of your relationship. You will suddenly experience an incomprehensible peace that entirely defies your difficult circumstances. You will discover a deep, bubbling joy that remains steady even on your darkest, hardest days. And you will find yourself easily handling heavy burdens that used to completely break you. This happens not because you somehow became tougher overnight, but strictly because the mighty vine is actively providing all the necessary power. The Christian journey was never intended to be a grueling testing ground to see how much agonizing weight you can single-handedly carry. It is meant to be a vibrant, living connection to the one who effortlessly handles absolutely everything. So, the next time you feel completely overwhelmed, do not run back to the miserable hamster wheel of human striving. Instead, simply stop, breathe, and return your heart to the vine. If this message brought peace to your exhausted soul today, please like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can continue sharing these life-shifting biblical truths with you.